Ladies and gentlemen, for the final time, we welcome you back to the Battle Hardened Chicago as it's finals time.
It is finals time. I also am a winner this weekend.
Yes, go on.
I finally became the owner of an Eye of Ophidia, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, I bought a single pack of No, I imagine. No, I brought some tradables here to MinMax Games, where their motto has always been "Get more at MinMax." I guess I'm just making that up.
Yeah, that's a really good motto there.
I literally just took a stack of cards that I was no longer interested in. I gave them to Peter at MinMax.
Yep.
He gave me a tally. He's like, this workout. I
Boop,
said,
boop, boop.
let's make it happen.
Boop, boop. Yeah.
Yeah, no, there was some
Yeah.
doop-doops and some boop-boops. But what's left to do is the finals here at the Battle Hardened in Chicago. 143 people decided to come to the city of Windy City? This is the Windy City? Which city is this? It's not the Brotherly Love one.
143 players entered this event, and now 2 stand alone at the precipice of victory. And one of those players has been here before, and that's Rhea Adams. Yes, Rhea up against it, up against Brody Spurlock, the Kid Wonderbread himself. Manages to pull out the win, and now has one more Dromai to face before she crosses the finish line and becomes back-to-back battle-hardened champion.
Worth noting, none of the Lexis are through here. They all kind of fell in the earlier stages here of the bracket. Now it's down to the finals as Rhea Adams, again, defending champion, one battle-hardened Cincinnati with this very deck, is facing off against Gui Cohen, who is playing that Dromai, that triplicate of Ashwings that put in so much work, just punching above their weight. Gui Cohen on Dromai versus Rhea Adams on Icelander. It is the finals of Battle Hardened Chicago.
Yeah, let's go ahead and jump down into that arena, as I believe the players are setting up, getting ready to roll, and start this finals off. The hall is now quiet. There are very few people left. It's been a long day as we've been here basically the whole time, watching players, get set up, get ready for the tournament, get prepared to play a long 8-round Swiss into the top 8. And here we are at the end of it all. And Rhea is standing along with us, trying to make it happen against Guy, the Dromai drip prodigy.
Guillotine Cohen.
I like that.
Just going with it. The Guillotine versus Rhea Adams. Don't call me Rhea.
It's not Rhea.
It's not Rhea. Rhea Adams, 9-1 on the day. Same with Gui Cohen here, 9-1. So it all comes down to this, essentially. I know those are cliche words when it comes to any tournament, but that is the truth of the matter over here, as this is a nasty little nugget for both players to deal with, as Rhea just, disposed of Brody Spurlock. Not an easy out in any tournament.
No, playing against Brody Spurlock is a feat in and of itself, because he is methodical, calculated, can think his way around just about every problem, and being able to dance your way past him and make it to here and face down a similar but not quite the same deck is going to be very interesting to see how this plays out. These decks back to back have been very similar, but a couple of changes between these two lists. We do see in Guy's list the inclusion of cards that you might not see otherwise, like 3 Invoke Uvia, which is a different change. It's a dragon that costs a little bit more. The inclusion of some Fate for Scenes to cover up a little bit more of these long attacks. And then 1 Remembrance is a huge difference, because right now there's a current belief that there isn't a control deck that can really take you to task. And yet that 1 Remembrance does actually do some serious work for Dromai, because you can, in some way, shape, or form, run into fatigue. I have experienced that recently, that there are still some fatigue decks lurking around, so that Remembrance has a lot of merit in the game still. Though in this matchup, we don't really expect to see it. And if you're wondering why the equipment has already been presented on Guy's side of things, well, that's because that's all they run. They literally just run that. Flake is showing me a photo of James White standing in front of a large television
Yes.
with the two of us bozos behind him.
Yeah.
And that's very touching.
Almost like he convoked us out of
Yes.
thin air, like we're some sort of apparition. And we are haunting New Zealand as we speak, but ultimately...
Invoke Flakemata.
Oh, what?
That's a new invocation that you can summon as Dromai to bring the two of us idiots onto the board, and players are beginning, as you can see here, to take up the tunic, and Rhea starts by drawing her cards.
All right, so again, the top seed gets to decide who goes first, who goes second, and you gotta believe here that Rhea Adams wants to go first to go ahead and put in a card in arsenal. Not to mention, you do not want to give Gui Cohen an opportunity to go ahead and pitch and create some Ash. The Ash economy in any matchup, frankly, is massive. But look at the start here. Is that a Frost Hex to open the game?
Starts off with a Frost Hex, just playing it outright and then asking to pass priority. This is an opportunity for Gui to then pitch into Seeker's Mitts. Going second is actually preferable in a lot of respects for the Dromai player, because it allows you to do this exact play without having to, worry about being card negative. Sand cover right away. A snap sand cover here is quite interesting because it does use the Ash you just created, but it also opens you up to the possibility of, following it up with a Flamescale Furnace here, since you've played a red card.
So So what the situation here is that Ash does not exist yet, because the Waning Moon was in response to that that pitch to the creation. So the Ash is not resolved. So you cannot sand cover this. And Rhea Adams very cleverly and very adeptly saying, hey, hang tight, the stack. I'm a wizard, so you need to go to Stack School 101.
That is correct, 100%. And that is a very real possibility that we will see, is responses from Rhea. They're going to happen all over the place if she knows her timing, and of course she's trying to be back-to-back. Oh wow, look at this! The Remembrance does come into the deck, trying to be back-to-back play champions, and this is a huge change. Just getting that Remembrance out of hand is the key play there. Playing out the sand cover as well, the huge play there, but. What an interesting way to start this game, is not stopping that damage, creating the Ash, and basically full filtering, but showing that you did include that Remembrance there.
Yeah, both players kind of playing that first turn almost like they've got dinner reservations, but like they were going hot and heavy on this one. We're going to go in with the Yenderai pitching to go ahead and play that one. It's a 3-attack dragon, comes with a little shield of protection here, as that Ash neutral play will remain 1 in the bank here for Gui. We have seen how different the complexity or the complexion rather of the game is when a Dromai player is just struggling to fill that bank with Ash.
It can be a real issue, but this matchup is going to be completely different in a lot of respects, and in this case I don't think you're going to really worry about Ash generation if you can establish an Ash Wing. If you can get an Ash Wing onto the board, you almost have free reign of creating Ash off of the back of just blocking with arcane damage, right? Arcane Barrier lets you pitch into it and create Ash that way. But here we just have the super efficient play from Icelander of Aether Hail into Waning Moon for that casual chunk of damage off of a single card, and that blue.
It's my favorite play. It's what I used to do a lot in Limited, or what you'd lean for, is those blue Aether Hails were so valuable to me in Limited, because you pitch a blue, you play it, create a Frostbite, and you follow up with the Waning Moon. It's a 5 damage, 1 Frostbite play off of a blue, so it's very difficult to digest. In this case, again, constructed as a different beast, as we see a Passing Mirage on the board as well. Is Rhea even bringing any poppers to the party here?
Almost none. I would imagine that she probably has some in the sideboard, and they would come in now. It does look like there is a 3-spot of Fyendal's Fighting Spirit red that can come in and block in a pinch, and that is literally the only thing that this Passing Mirage protects against. It's also very important to note that Passing Mirage, a blue, we saw a Warmonger's Diplomacy, a blue, and a yellow Remembrance, all drawn in the first 2 hands of this game. That is a huge, what's the best word to say?
Banana.
Okay, that's not the word.
No, okay,
inconsistency is not the word. It's very unlikely that you would normally see that. And that means that you're not seeing those cards later when you possibly could want to use them for pitch fodder to stop arcane damage. And that's a big deal because I oftentimes cited in those cards for stopping arcane.
Okay, so this is a huge change of pace here. It's not the passing mirage that protects against the poppers. It's the fact that now you've put out the guardian, the timekeeper, if you will. There's no more. It's basically the cop, the constable on patrol, watching and waiting here, as this one is protected against any type of popping from the passing mirage. But this Thamai, which is now, you could see the art on this is so well encapsulating what it wants to do. It overlooks. It kind of monitors the board. You cannot do things on your turn, on my turn is what it is. It keeps the game essentially at face value.
Yes, and this is a huge play normally, but I believe Rhea has exactly the answer she needs in this moment, and that is looks like what she has here, and that is a perfect clear. Now, this is the problem, is that exact card. Thamai is the problem that Rhea has to solve throughout this game, and seeing the first Thamai and being able to solve that problem right away is huge, is absolutely huge, because as a non-conventional attack version of Icelander, we don't have the ease of just, I'm just going to throw out a 4 attack and just clear this. We have to clear it with these spells that do massive damage to our opponent.
What's tremendous about this game also is the fact that so many heroes are not just about, okay, well, this allows me to play these attacks. This allows me access to these cards, which completely changes the dynamic of how my playstyle will be. Is it all about allies? Is it about playing within the greasy margins that Icelander wants to do? This is a huge play right here. This is going to stymie anything that Gui wants to go put together. And like you mentioned, playing the passing mirage on the board, that is one of the very few blues that Gui has access to pay through turns like this, with the ability to cheat out this Channel Lake Frigid that comes with that Frostbite Chaser. That spells almost a full-on stop to things that Gui wants to go ahead and push through on the following turn.
Right, now we have a 2-card hand here. We are establishing that we're playing Kyloria, which is a huge deal. We know that the arsenal is now clear because it was the Channel Link Frigid. So we know that Kyloria can come across if we can pay through this. Now, the response here is most likely, after the resolution of the Frostbite, going to be I'm going to pay the Flamescale Furnace to Flamescale Furnace and gain the resources past this so that I can pay through my attacks, and that is exactly what we see, so that I can then send both of these dragons and make you actually deal with them. So in the response, or after allowing that Frostbite to resolve, we're going to pitch 2 into the Flamescale Furnace. Then we're going to gain 3 resources and be able to kind of pay through these taxes.
This is why Jeff Bezos doesn't pay taxes. This is
because he has
exactly what you said.
Furnace.
Yeah,
That's
he has essentially a flame scale furnace over at Amazon, and just says like, if I throw $1 billion into the furnace, I get $2 billion back. What is this? That's essentially why these things happen. Ultimately, Rhea Adams here is now facing off against one of the more threatening dragons in this matchup, which is Kyloria, because Rhea's equipment doesn't block. It's all utility. I mean, the only thing that you want to give up is right there is going to be the Coronet Peak in order to perhaps stop some of the onslaught here.
Well, so she actually chose to, because obviously
she's activating.
Yeah, well, this is on her turn. Yes, correct. She's activating that to steal a card from the hand. Again, this is exactly why you don't have to worry about Ashe in this matchup. But we're sitting at 6 Ashe. We're good for the rest of the game, basically. But because of that passing mirage that we just can't deal with without conventional attacks, that Kyloria is just free to attack every turn and gather up possible cards in hand or items that our opponent could be trying to use. And so,
there's a 3-pack of Raging Onslaughts. You can see one in the graveyard as well.
Yes.
Another opportunity to go ahead and pop something, should you want to, which is what you basically want to do. Passing Mirage here, unfortunately, is really nasty because Passing Mirage is such an easy fix when you have something like Rosetta Thorn or an Anathos or a Kodachi.
Sure.
You just poke it in there and poof, it's gone. The spectra of it just dissipates and the turn ends, but sure, you get rid of that. You can't Waning Moon that.
No.
You can't target it with arcane damage.
No.
And are you really wanting to give up a big turn of sending a Raging Onslaught or a Findel's Fighting Spirit at something like that? No, you don't. So the fact that Gui was able to establish that means that cards like Kyloria are breakpoint. It's
Yeah.
snatch on a stick every single turn.
Yeah, one of the ways. Oh, this is a great start. Is dust up for 0. I believe you're having to pay 1 from the Channel Lake Frigid, but that again generates you an Ash, and it leaves you open to Flamescale Furnace. And this is what I was about to talk about. One of the things and the keys in this matchup is knowing when to get a red into your pitch zone so that you can activate Furnace at a more expensive cost, but to gain the resources to pay around more disruption. And one of the ways that Rhea can really exercise a lot of control in this matchup is to try and stymie those opportunities and create these compounding moments of disruption. And this is one way for Gui to really dance around a lot of the disruption. Here he's going to pitch into that flame scale, I believe, gaining those resources to come in, attack, and Snapdragon on top of the dust up.
Incredible. That, I mean, the flame scale furnace has become such like, and the just the theme of what that card is, it's a furnace. You put something in it and you want to get more out of it.
Yeah.
You just shoving coal in the steam engine, and look what it actually produces. So a massive piece. We've seen this the Dromai player that has given up the flame scale furnace to cover a breakpoint, just completely tossing it out the window, and how that match has changed. And ultimately, there's another popper, and this is that I believe the second attack, the Kyloria, I think was first to go.
That I do not know. Actually, I know it does appear that was the first attack, and that's going to gain you. And there's the second popper. So actually, this was a really well timed bait by Raya, giving you the block on the first one, gaining a point of life, and then kind of feigning that you don't have it, and then following up with a second popper. That was why, by the way, that hand was slightly awkward for Raya, drawing up and passing previously, drawing into 2 of those poppers.
Do you think there's a consideration to just let the first Ashwing go? I mean, you're very limited on poppers. Again, Raya's won last week's battle hardened, and he's here again to defend her crown, as it were.
Yes.
So I'm not going to question the approach here, because my guess is that she faced off against a hell of a field of Dromais on the way up there. So she knows what she's doing, and it's a process. And sometimes you got to make those plays that feel so suboptimal.
Right.
But if it buys you back the momentum, the confidence in that regard, sometimes that is just worth it.
I think there could have also been a world where she actually considers to, keeping one of those attacks and then sending it on her turn to take care of the passing barrage, simply because you never have to deal with not popping a dragon. But honestly, I don't necessarily think that's a great play. There's a world you live in where you could choose that, depending on how many poppers you have in the deck. But here, I think making the right plays and finding the right lines to keep herself in the game, and not only that, but maybe even in the driver's seat from this point. Brain Freeze coming out, getting the fuse and the second Frost Hex in the hand, being able to kind of steal another card out of the hand is pretty solid.
Well, you got a Sigil of Solace in there. I believe a couple of, what are those, Sweeping Blows or Billowing Mirages?
Yeah, it looked like they were Billowing Mirages indeed.
All right, well, Reyes doing a little housekeeping there in the graveyard, finding I think 2 or 3 poppers that exist in there, and the Dromai, beautiful Marvel art Dromai, is going to represent 3 damage, creating the action point. As you can see, the die over the Dromai representing 2 action points. You could thank Dromai for that wonderful donation to the action point fund.
Yeah, coming across with the Dromai, this is not poppable because of this first attack this turn being the Passing Mirage effect. And there's the second attack. You do have to sequence in this way, by the way, if you're curious at home. You're not able to gain the extra action point because you don't want the Billowing Mirage to accept that effect off of Passing Mirage because you want the Dromai to be unpoppable. Even though if you're putting your opponent on, 6 to 9 poppers that they could possibly side in, you've seen a good bit of them so far, you still don't want to necessarily open yourself up to losing out on massive tempo by them having just drawn into that, other one.
It's incredible. I mean, while watching this game, it seems like Rhea has essentially been on most of the receiving end here, yet the life totals are as such that it's pretty even Steven here in terms of the damage done on both sides. Rhea has taken 25 points of damage. Guy has taken 20. So, not 25 points of damage, 15 points of damage. Guy has taken 20. So Guy has been on the heavier end of the receiving side here, whereas Rhea at 21 has a slight lead. Going to go ahead and pitch into the Coronet Peak, trying to buy cards out of Guy's side here. And it's going to be Flame Call Awakening?
Yes, Flame Call Awakening is pitched, if that's what you're asking. Yeah, that's correct.
That was what I was asking.
Pitched. I apologize.
Armadas.
I was looking at the beauty of that Marvel Chromai on the board.
Another
How can you not?
One. I am do you see me marveling?
There you go. There it is.
I am marveling.
It's hard not to marvel at those. Now, playing this Marvel Chromai out and choosing to possibly follow up by attacking with one of these, most likely will be met with no responses, perhaps, because we do know that Raya does have another popper in hand, and in doing so, she's probably looking to pop the second one. But man, this is one of the most MVP dragons you could possibly have on the board because it gains you the action point just straight up. And look, she's going to just not block this one, wait for the second one, and then most likely pop the second one.
Yeah, you got to bust it up. I mean, this is definitely the way to do it, and you get a life back too here. So quite the decent exchange here. Rhea going up to 19 off of the Findel's Fighting Spirit block.
Yeah, this pop will trigger. You are going to, go up and then down on the action point for the first one, and then on this one you are going to go down, but you are still sitting at 2 action points completely. And of course, you've played that go again.
Friends, if you're joining us just now, this is the finals of the Battle Hardened here in Chicago, hosted by MinMax Games. Flake alongside DMArmada have been with you all day long with the incredible action. Blaze headlong is how we're going to get the party rolling here.
Yep, and this is after we've established 2 Ashwing attacks, and now we're threatening 4. We have a card in arsenal, a card in hand. We have the ability to push this even further, and Raya has to ask the question of, can I just keep taking this damage, or do I need to do something big and pivotal on my turn? Can I accept this? Can I block it? What is the optimal line for me to get out of this scot-free?
I mean, let's be real here. Big and pivotal for Icelander. Icelander's not necessarily known for these massive explosive turns. It's usually these chunks of 5 to 6 at a time, 5 to 6 at a time. That is very awkward and disruptive. But this isn't a hero that is going to go ahead and just jam out something like 20 to 25 damage in one sort of foul swoop. This is a methodical kind of blue-collar hero that comes in and just gets the work done, grinds away, and then just wins it out outright. They're not trying to do anything too over the top. The most crazy thing is when you do get your opponent to a single-digit life total, that's when the Stormstriders might be able to sort of pull a rabbit out of the hat. But for the most part, Icelander has been a very methodical, process-type hero.
Yes, here presenting the encase damage, which can just completely shut down equipment, which is pretty good here, and also hero effects, freezing the hero. With that freeze overall. But we do have 2 Ashwings that we can stop the sand cover. That was the huge answer, because that is does not matter in any way, shape, or form about whether or not you have Ashwings to pitch into Arcane Barrier. It just turns an Ash into a free 4 block, basically, of any sort of damage. Oh, and this is what you want to see even more of, waiting for the resolution of this, of course, giving your opportunity to respond and create 3 more Ashwings.
Ultimately, this is probably the most devastating card that Guy has in the deck, is the Rake the Embers, for what it represents. It represents damage encased in permanency on the board that also has a Arcane Barrier built into it.
True.
It is everything that Rhea does not want to see. It is a brutality of a play. So we're going to try to slow this down as much as possible with the Ice Bolt, creating a Frostbite, chasing it down the pipe here. As once this resolves, we've seen how Guy navigated the previous match, where, hey, against the Lexi, it's the Stooges. They just come out and start running amok.
And this is where you want to consider the usage of Flamescale Furnace and why it was so fortuitous to have that sand cover on the previous turn, because now you can dance around this Frostbite and gain resources around it off of the back of Flamescale Furnace. Going to take the 3 from the Waning Moon, allow the resources to resolve. This is just crisp right here, choosing to Waning Moon before the resolution of the Flamescale Furnace, and then gaining the 2 resources in response. After that is all said and done.
You say crisp, and it just takes me back to our bacon conversation.
Yes. Sound off in chat. Are you on the crispy bacon side? Are you on the what was it?
They said at Cracker Barrel. They said limp.
Okay.
Okay.
There you go. Those are your choices.
That's Americana for you. All right. Dromai has been quite the pest for quite a while now. 3 attack with the go again, and look at this. It's like, all right, which one of these bad boys do you want to face off first? Jeremy Jr., JJ, Ashley, and hey, Brittany's entered the field.
Yeah, there she is. There you go. Now, but starting off with the completely protected Dromai, and then just counting up the possibilities of damage. Now, because you know you've already used the Arsenal and you've already used the Waning Moon, you have a 3-card hand. You have to be very careful with how you proceed over the next, these next attacks. Because do you commit any of the, your future cards, then you give yourself this really bad spot of just not being able to really do much on your turn, and then you're just stuck kind of arsenaling. So keeping some of those cards in hand is paramount so that you can have some amount of follow-up. But at this point, you're staring down a board full of dragons. Yeah, and this is not the place you want to be in, sending Aether Hail Red into a Dromai and then following it up for 2 damage to your opponent who's got the life lead. But it does, if they don't respect it, put them into this 11 damage threshold that we've talked about time and time again now against other Icelanders. That's not a place you want to be.
I mean, there is a situation here where perhaps what you do is you take the 2, you go E-Strike, go again, right? We're going for the Mirror Guy. Pitching the E-Strike.
Waiting for Rhea to draw up. Raya is going to look at her hand and assess the situation as this Mirror Guy is looking to resolve onto the board. We have 1 card in the in the pitch zone, and I think the reason that you do this play over E-Strike is it gives you the card in pitch so that you can Flamescale Furnace, gain 2 resources, and play around any Frostbites.
I'm not a dragonologist, so I don't know how these things work. Ultimately, I can only tell you what I see on the board, which is a Mirror Guy protected by itself and a Passing Barrage. 2 layers of protection here, as well as a 5-pack of these dastardly buzzards that are just waiting to peck at the face of this Icelander, as 6 health is quite a tasty treat, as they are just waiting for it, hunting for it. So we're opening up with the 2 attack on the Mirror Guy. This does have go again based off the fact that it is a red card. It played itself, the invoke aspect of this card. So all the dragons now have go again. And Rhea Adams, who won the Cincinnati Battle Hardened with this very deck, now facing a tough decision as Gui is on the hunt.
Gui Cohen putting on a clinic with this deck, showing not only that Gui knows how to play Dromai, but knows how to play into a variety of matchups. We've watched these past 2, been very crisp as far as knowing what to do, knowing the overall game plan, knowing how to play into these heroes, and really showing, yes, I'm at that breakpoint of 11. That could be scary, but you're on the clock for lethal here with each of these, and I have the tools to maybe dance around a little bit of this. This is a great response to stymie the turn. In the layer step of attacking, you are, I believe, threatening. Now, is that lethal towards the dragon, or is that being presented towards
That's
Gui?
lethal
I think it's towards the dragon.
It's towards
right?
the dragon, definitely. And in response to the frostbite, we're going to go ahead and gain the life here. So Rhea's like, what the hell? How did you get so much health in quite a little burst?
Well, Sigil in the Arsenal's been sitting there for a couple, so we could have maybe predicted that and played around that. But the Sigil from the hand as well, there to kind of float, gives you the ability to just go to 17. Yeah, you killed my Ashwing and stopped lethal, but you know what? You're going to give me an Arsenal. I'm going to have another 5-card hand next turn.
But Frostex is finally on the board here. Let's go. All right.
The 1 point of Arcane has finally come through on that Frostex.
Tunic up, don't forget that. Again, the fundamentals, my friends. We're going to go ahead and fuse this Aether Ice Vein with a probably the most nasty trick in the book here, which is going to be CLF. It's going to come in for some arcane damage. If you catch Gui with a handful of reds, this is going to connect and it's going to be filthy, and it's going to peel some cards out of hand here. So we'll see how this resolves. But CLF into this Dragon Horde can be brutal.
Yeah, this is actually the exact kind of combo you need in this exact moment to still be in the game. Without these exact two cards almost, you could probably write this game off already. But you're presenting, if that's a red, you're presenting 5 damage. You're presenting a, discard or pay 2, which Dromai can't do well unless you drew into a blue. And then again, you may want to hold that because what's going to go into the arsenal? Channel Lake Frigid. And that is going to really tax and really hurt your, crackback presentation of lethal. So these 2 cards might actually keep Rhea in this game.
That you're spot on. This was precisely what Rhea needed to draw in order to make this game interesting again. I mean, the gain 6 was a backbreaking play for Rhea, where you kind of get Gui into a position where maybe you can sneak it through. Maybe when the hand is empty, you can finally get something going here. But then boom, boom, gain 6. Suddenly it is an uphill climb once again. But this is how you start clawing back. Again, this is for all the marbles. Rhea has won a battle hardened as recently as 7 days ago. So she knows the stress. She knows how to navigate these kinds of situations. And what a time to draw a hand of this potency.
And it looks like he's feathering a card, considering maybe is this maybe just I take full and then I discard off of the trigger here? So that would put you back to 11, and it would leave you a 3-card hand.
Does sand cover something like this?
Yes, you can sand cover here. In fact, maybe that's the play. Maybe it's sand cover and pitch 1.
Yeah.
But is that a sand cover or is that Thamai? It looks like that's Thamai.
Thamai is there.
So I wonder if she's just...
I see a Flame Call Awakening, a Thamai.
I wonder if he's just deciding what to discard, and I think that's exactly right. Going to take the 5 and put yourself back into dangerous lethal range, but you know that lethal isn't coming on this turn because it's not a spell in the arsenal. It is a Channel Lake Frigid, but that's scary enough as it is.
All right, well, I think the proper play here was to actually keep the full hand as best as you can because you are threatening lethal on board.
Yes.
Like, just on board, not even worrying about what's in hand here. So I think going to 11, you got to be feeling in a safe zone, especially knowing, like you said, that what the card coming from Arsenal is not damage. It's disruption. And
that's the big key here.
Sure.
You're not dead just to mathed out lethal. You have outs, and you especially have outs knowing what the card in Arsenal is. You can calculate around the problem.
Gui Cohen up against it here, against this Icelander, but getting by with a little help from his friends here with all those Ashwings, the dragons. We're going to go for the 5 go again. And again, every card it seems now is going to present lethal. 5 is a nasty number. It's a 2-card block if you want to fully cover it up. This might be a situation where the Coronet Peak comes online, but I don't see that happening if you want the CLF to stay around, right?
This is a dangerous place to put yourself in because what you haven't done is put a card into your pitch zone. And in not putting a card into your pitch zone, it gets really hard to dance around multiple forms of disruption. And so you, in one way, you're putting lethal on the board. I mean, it's 5. You're going to have to block this somehow. Otherwise, you're going to have to kill me right now somehow. But you're also saying, okay, but I am open now to, I don't know, maybe you popping Storm Striders early and, sending, a blue or a yellow Aether Ice Vein that pulls cards from my hand and, doesn't allow me to, play out an effectual game plan. There's maybe some danger here. Or a blizzard. Or a blizzard. Exactly that.
It's a blizzard that, again, comes with a Frostbite Chaser. This is a tough, tough one to swallow here. As, again, Rhea Adams seems to be drawing into all of the stops that she needs. And this is pay 2 or lose go again, and then pay 1 just to show up. Again, this is that Frostbite is like tip the bouncer to get into the club. That's kind of what you got to do here. And unfortunately, on an all red hand, can you get past on this?
Okay, so maybe there is with Blizzard. Perhaps it's actually okay because if you pay 2 And no, because the Frostbite has to resolve first. The Frostbite resolving first is actually huge. Oh, but he has a blue. He finally draws into a blue. That is a game changer of a play, and perhaps why he chose to go with the E-Strike route, knowing he had a blue to pay around, is huge.
Yeah, Rhea may have thought that she got away with murder here, staring down this murderer's row, frankly, of dragons that are constantly threatening her life total here. That blue came at the perfect time for Guy. And the deck that Guy's running has how many blues? 6. So one's on the board. We've seen one early on in the deck. There is the saving grace, that one of 6 blues that are out there finally showing up at the right time. Rhea Adams is not the only one who pulls rabbits out of her hat. In this case, she is up against it. 5 still on the stack, and now's the time to fire off that CLF.
Yeah, the only way I think to live through this is to tax a second time. You know your opponent can't Flamescale Furnace effectively here. That Frostbite will resolve, a second one will be created, and you're giving the tax here, so you just have to deal with the E-Strike. That's for 5 go again on the board. Has 1 card in hand. If for some reason that is a second blue, I think the game is still over.
That would be backbreaking.
That would be the flashiest way in the absolute world to win a game, as a red line Dromai player having a 2 blue hand and saying, here's the line that wins.
The line was draw 2 blues, and I just happened to have it. So we're at a point. I guess did the first Frostbite not resolve? No,
both have resolved. Yeah,
okay.
Everything is resolved, and now we're looking at maybe like a Coronet Peak block, or chucking a Coronet plus the equipment just all in there. It looks like she's just going to favor the Arsenal pass route onto her own turn, blocking 3, taking 2.
You want to keep that CLF alive, right? So you are pitching to Coronet.
That's true.
So you're not even getting an Arsenal here.
That is very true. Yeah, you're not getting the Arsenal. You are 100% correct. I think Coronet peak into keeping CLF to maybe keep. And look, you're getting some value.
Aha!
Now, you're going to pay 1. Are you also going to pitch that Arsenal card? Or are you going to go to 10? That's a decision point that you really have to think about.
And I mean, okay, so pitching the 1, eating one of the 1 AB, is Guy going to go down to 9? No, so it
would go down to 10.
Yeah,
no,
go down. No, he's already
10.
at 10.
Yeah. No, we're at 11 here. Paying 1.
Right.
So we go down to 10 because we only have the 1 Frostbite, or the 1 Frost Hex resolved onto the board.
Okay, so ultimately here, that Frost Hex is representing 2 single instances of 1 Arcane. The 1 float was paid. There's 1 Arcane to resolve. Guy is now agonizing over the fact of this: is this card worth my arsenal, or do I keep myself at 11, which is probably just a smidge above any kind of smoke and mirrors.
I was going to say, if that's a 1 cost red in the hand there, it's always a snap Arsenal and take the 1. But because it's a 0 cost red, and especially one that doesn't even start the chain off, it doesn't give you a way to get something into your arsenal to establish like this ability to play around Frostbites. So you just get rid of it, stay at 11, which is a tough break point. And obviously your opponent doesn't have an arsenal this turn. You feel a lot more comfortable.
All right, so Guy is probably hoping to draw into a blue here, one of the very few that are existing in the deck list here. He's running 6. 1 exists on the board. Another was just pitched. We saw a Remembrance, which is a yellow. It's a little bit of help, I suppose. But right now, Rhea Adams is opting here to rather maintain the Channel Lake Frigid and foregoing a Arsenal. It is an uncomfortable position to be, but Ravenous Rabble forego again. What a devastator.
This could spell the end right here. This could be the final turn. Being able to start off with 4 and have the ability to maybe, is that a 1 card hand or a 2 card hand? If it's a 2 card hand, then you can possibly close this out. But if it's a 1 card hand, you can send maximum 1 more dragon.
It's a 1 card hand because you Coronet peaked 1 away, and then you're paying into the CLF to play the 4 go again.
Yeah.
So if that's a blue, that's 3 Ashwings.
Right. If it's a blue, then this is a wonderful play here. But if it's not a blue, then you're looking to send exactly 2 more damage in the form of Miragai. Your opponent's going to have to deal with this completely, I would say.
Ultimately, let's just go back to the fact that the MVP of this matchup has been Rake the Embers. Those little buzzards, those annoying, just hovering, bothersome, poking at you, have been so brutal. And
There's the pull of the Cornet Peak, but it allows you as Rhea to keep a 3-card hand, to maybe double pitch somehow into.
hey, you can't with the CLF up. You can't play cards like Sigil of Solace. You can't play D-Reacts if you
Without
have
paying
them
for
without paying them.
Yeah.
So the fact that it exists here is potentially has some implications. We're gonna Aether Ice Vein, no fusion. This is merely damage, and I'm wondering if that could very well be an ice card, but you think that if it is, that she's absolutely going to fuse
We're
it.
always fusing here.
So
yes.
what is it in Arsenal? And what is she holding on to here? That's a scary reality.
Well, and I think she's pitching a yellow, too, which is not the world you want to live in. Is that a yellow? Or
no,
are we
Ice
just
Vein
not
costs
floating
3,
the one?
so Aether Ice Vein costs 3.
Oh,
so
that's true. You're so right. 100%. But this also means that if you want a Waning Moon, which I don't think is probably very wise, you lose the Arsenal. I think we're most likely sitting on a blue non-ice card in Arsenal, maybe something like Emeritus Scolding, which could put you into lethal range.
What if that was a popper, right? And she moves in with the first dragon. You cover it up, and then you pop. But she's going for the Arsenal here, losing the CLF. That is a safety net that she no longer has. And Gui here at 6.
Now, this is a big deal, though. Your opponent is at 6, and that opens you up to a lot more that you can do off of things like Waning Moon plus a spell from hand. If that other card is like Emeritus Scolding, then, you could have just fallen into lethal here.
Now,
and there's poppers in hand.
Poppers in hand, which is fine, but I think at this juncture, the poppers in hand is not what you... you kind of want a 5 arcane damage spell to follow up the Waning Moon after Gui has pushed forward with some nonsense.
Yeah.
But that Mirror Guy's protected, so it's a 2 that's going to be protected, a heap full of ash, and what does Gui draw? A card locked and loaded. A little bit of hesitation here. This is for all the marbles, the grand finals of the Battle Hardened. Every move matters. Rhea Adams has been resilient in this matchup up against this horde of dragons, just itching to end this game. Gui Cohen, the 7th seed, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Ultimately, I got to double check on that, but Rhea Adams was...
Gui was the 6th seed.
6th seed,
Rhea
my bad,
sitting at the 2nd seed. These players, yes, I think there are 2 poppers in hand, which is, like you mentioned, not where you want to be, because both of those are likely reds in this list. They're not playing like yellows. They are 2 red poppers.
Well, hold on a second. You go in with the first dragon, right? You block it with, let's say, a fighting spirit. You gain a life. Then the second dragon comes in. You pop it. You've got card in Arsenal, 2 cards in hand.
Right, but Gui has a full grip, which means he's not necessarily going to start with a dragon swing.
Certainly not.
He's going to swing something like, the E-Strike.
He's got an E-Strike, yeah.
But now he's laboring over this point of, okay, Rhea's at 0. She's dead. No. laboring over the point of, okay, I need to get something into my pitch zone so that I can flame scale in response to damage being presented. E-Strike doesn't do that for me. Do I need to hedge and play a different line that doesn't include E-Strike as a starter? And do I even have that capability?
Okay, well, Gui is in the danger zone, but has all the threats in the world on the board. Rhea has the element of surprise, the element of operating within those greasy margins, and has Gui at a very attainable area. If those Ash Wings were not on the board, this game would effectively probably be over without the AB. However, a 4-pack of dragons with Arcane Barrier built in is a hellacious opponent right now for Rhea.
There are some worlds that you live in that you maybe don't even present an attack from the hand. If you were that worried about dying to arcane damage on this turn, and it looks like 5 go again is the choice. It doesn't get the card into the pitch, and that does leave you open to certain lethals. And you just, at this point, is it literally just down to, you know what, I'm betting on the probabilities that you haven't drawn into lethal here, because I checked your graveyard, I know what your threat density is, I know what you've pitched, what you've played. Is he just playing into it?
Let's take a look. You've got an Aether Ice Vein. Do you have a blue to fire it off? And another card to pitch to the Stormstriders to make that happen? I mean, this is
you can do some really interesting things too, where you just say, okay, I'm gonna AB 2, and then they present a second round of arcane damage, and then you, in response to that, you furnace, and then you pitch like 2 cards or like a card. So you could have played into that out. If you're really worried about the possibility of just dying, you can find like really interesting little greasy extra action or resource points to dump into more arcane, thanks to all of these Ash Wings and having variable arcane barrier. But here on the stack, Guy has just said, okay, prove it. Show me the lethal if you've got it.
Sure.
I have some ways to dance around that.
Sometimes you play to win, and sometimes you play not to lose.
Yeah.
And right now, I mean, I think Guy has to say, look, we've come this far. The problem is the inevitability, in my opinion, is against Rhea in this circumstance. If Guy can just play safely and peel cards out, the inevitability is going to be in Guy's favor. He will eventually find another blue. He has the arcane barrier in droves on the board, representing lethal each single one of them. Again, Rhea is going to have to really think about every possible avenue here, as a 5 go again is the first order of business, and then we get to the dragons.
I think we have a really interesting hand that she drew into, a really unfortunate hand too, because I think I saw an encase red in her hand, which means she has literally 3 reds and 1 wizard spell. I think that's exactly what she has.
So this might just be a turn where it's block, pop, and the turn, right? Unless there's another follow-up. But she's giving up one of the poppers here to gain a life. There's another Raging Onslaught in hand, though.
Here's for 2.
Casual lethal.
She can take 1 with the Tunic block and save the popper for hand.
Absolutely. That's certainly a possibility.
This is down to the wire. I think that's exactly what she's doing. She's taking the resource here,
Floating
but she's going to chuck this in. That leaves her taking down to 1 with a 2-card hand, 1 in arsenal. We haven't seen her fire it off. We can assume after that last play of not fusing that it is not an ice blue.
All right. Well, if Guy has a go again attack here of a breakpoint value, that should be it. However, if not, if the next move is in Ashwing, it looks like he's got a card here.
Does he have the read that she doesn't have it? Dust Up is so great, but it doesn't have go again.
Okay, listen, this is okay. There's an opportunity here. There's an opportunity here to just full block and sort of end it. I think Guy was probably, look, if you're blocking with Fighting Spirit, it's because you're probably assuming Rhea has the other popper. So why put a lamb out to slaughter that way and just go for the 4 attack?
She's just going to pass on over. She has the arsenal that
What
she
a
can't
read.
pay for.
We need to go ahead and just again give credit to Guy here. Sees that the block to the initial attack the Enlightened Strike was with a popper. So Guy's saying, I'm not going to sacrifice an Ashwing end my turn and give you a card in hand. I'm merely going to buy that popper out of your hand with a standard attack.
But look at this. And now Guy has a 1-cost play that he can actually make to dance around any possible arcane threats. Can he put damage, like lethal, on the stack with a card pitched into the pitch zone?
Oh no.
He's not. And instead he's using 1 of the ash, waiting for responses.
Well, it's now or never. Raya has to pop the dancing shoes and moonwalk a little bit here to try to dance around this one, because we don't know what's in our arsenal, but we know that what the turn in which that card was put in the arsenal was an Aether Ice Vein turn that was not fused. Let's
And
find out.
Here it is. Let's see what she drew into. She has the resources, perhaps. She has the spell in hand. There's the. Is that a 3? Is that a 5? Gonna buff it up. This might just be it, actually. I think she may just have the reach across.
Hang tight. We're not there yet. 2 floating. That is coming in for how much? 6?
If that is a red, which it might be a blue, I can't quite make out, but if that's a red, then she's got she also fused, and that is going to do some serious
Hold
work
on.
as
So
well.
she's responding to the creation of the Asvalite, not the attack of the
that's
Asvalite.
correct. Yes, 100%. And that's why this is such a dangerous Asvalite play, but it also speaks to his hand composition.
It's 5. Okay, so it's a yellow.
That means he couldn't put lethal on the stack in this moment. And it gives you, as Rhea, a window to do exactly this. Say, I have 5 damage.
Oh, no.
Okay, so now we're at 6. We're up to 9. But the damage, honestly, could still go through. And in response to that, you Waning Moon for 3.
We don't know what the arsenal is at all. We do not know what the arsenal is, but we're assuming it's not a blue card.
If it's something like a sand cover, this game's over.
We'll find out shortly.
Stopping 3 damage here. Because if that card, for example, in Arsenal is Emeritus Scolding, that's 4 more damage on the top.
But you know what? That very well could be.
He had the blue the whole time.
Okay, hold on.
This absolutely collapsed everything that Rhea could possibly have done to steal this game. Having a blue, having the 3 life gain, AB3 with the Ash Wings, gain their 3 life. I'm up to 9.
Oh no. Tough. You know what? This game has been majestic. It has been everything.
Oh, and he's going to dance. Look at this. Even so smart to dance around the disruption effect of Aether Ice Vein. Gains him a resource. It chooses to discard a card, which you can choose because that's an option, and discarding nothing. Leaves him, I believe, with a resource. Takes him down to 4. I think he has a resource floating, and no matter what's in the arsenal, it wasn't Emeritus Blue. That 4. Oh, but she can buff.
What's left?
I think she can. This pushes it for 5.
Oh my goodness. This is how this is going to end up with the 1 floating.
That's the game. Oh my God.
Oh my gosh.
An absolute insane barn burner of a finals. There were so many ways that game could have ended. And that was the craziest possible outcome. Oh my good Lord.
Okay, the amount of times that we flip-flopped of this is this player's game to close out this player's game. Incredible, because that last sequence should be reviewed multiple times for the amount of swerves. It was an M. Night Shyamalan movie in terms of how many spontaneous, crazy reveals occurred of, and he's got the Sigil of Solace, and she's got the Emeritus Scolding. Here comes the blue that he was holding on to the entire time.
Wow.
What a matchup.
Wow. And you know what that means? Rhea goes back-to-back on battle-hardened wins. The back-to-back champion on Icelander. Arcane Icelander, of all things. That is... you had to see it to believe it.
Unreal. Quite an exhilarating way to end this tournament. Rhea Adams goes back-to-back. Cincinnati, done. Chicago, old news. She is a back-to-back battle-hardened champion on the Ice Princess herself. Icelander, arcane damage, hocus pocus, abracadabra, kaboom, baby. Another gold foil. Congratulations.
There it is.
Rhea Adams.
Absolutely, just
wonderful,
rushing in. Like it's great when you start the day off with Rhea on round 1, and you interview Rhea after round 1, and we talk to her about, hey, you know what? We are billing this as you're the champion seeking to go back to back, the reigning champion of Battle Hardened. Rhea looks at both of us and says, "Oh my God, that's too much pressure." Well, you know what? She stepped up. Pressure.
Makes
Nothing.
diamonds, baby.
No pressure, no diamonds, and what do you have here? A win.
Incredible.
That is, I am blown away. What great play from both players. Like the amazing knowledge of that matchup on display. How do you not watch that matchup back and just go, yeah, that is one of the best games I've watched probably ever.
Look, at the end of the day, both players just seem to have answers for everything thrown at each other's way. Yeah. And the way that Rhea navigated those final turns to stay alive and just buy another turn, another chance, another opportunity to actually convert, it was masterful. Look, you know me in Star Wars. In Rise of Skywalker,
go on.
When Anakin and Obi-Wan are fighting against each other on Mustafar, they were
Rise of Skywalker,
not Rise of sorry, Revenge of the Sith. My apologies. Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. Obi-Wan and Anakin are fighting each other. They are master and Padawan. They know each other so well that there's that scene where they're just they know each other's moves. They're not actually touching each other. They're just because of that just incredible just parrying and dodging and attacking and whatever. Oh my goodness, that's how that match felt. It was that kind of spectacle, and it was exciting as all hell. And I was glad that I got to be here for all 11 rounds of this battle. Hardened.
Me too. It's always a pleasure to come and provide commentary. Hopefully you've enjoyed it throughout the day. Hopefully you've been able to catch some of it. Hopefully you participated in the antics and the giveaways. And if you enjoyed this, well, we're going to do it all again tomorrow because we're going to have a wonderful PTI tomorrow. Going to be a little shorter than this one. I think it's only around 6 rounds of Swiss. But if you want to be part of giveaways tomorrow, we've got even more stuff to give away. First edition Monarch, first edition Tales. No, this is Unlimited Tales. We've got more boxes of Outsiders. No, it's not Outsiders. What is it?
It is
Dusk Till Dawn. We got Dusk Till Dawn. We got playmats. We got lots of stuff. So.
Well, we also have an interview with Rhea.
Oh, of course. We've got to get Rhea on. I wonder if she's busy. I think she's holding a gold foil. Nope, just kidding. Here she is.
Oh, hold on a second.
Just kidding.
We got to pay the bills real quick, so we're going to run a quick ad, and then we're going to speak to Rhea Adams, the battle-hardened champion. Welcome back as I creep into the corner over here.
Let's get the old scooch.
We can never get it right. That's just how we do it. But you know who did get it right? Rhea Adams. And you know who else got it right? Me with her name, because that's the kind of improvement that the journey I'm on right now. Congratulations, Rhea.
Thank you very much. It's
I mean, you started the journey right in this booth with a win.
I did.
Yeah.
Mentioning about how you didn't want the kind of pressure that we were kind of creating with that narrative.
You know, you gave no pressure, for sure. It's just, what a day.
Well, maybe a little bit.
Maybe a little bit of pressure.
Well, it just makes the win that much better. And ultimately, the one thing that Steven and I were talking about was just how absolutely back and forth, bonkers, inside out, upside down, kind of that last turns, couple turns actually were, where you seem to eventually, it comes to a point where you're basically making plays to see another turn cycle, right?
Yes. It got very sketchy there towards the end. I was really scared on the East Strike Blizzard turn. I believe that was the last blue in deck he had to pitch to that Blizzard. And I was really banking on getting to save that CLF for the next turn cycle and really get some breathing room. We recovered from that. Luckily, the CLF, even with no Arsenal, was just enough disruption to stay in that game. But going resource perfect for exactly the kill on the last turn is... what a way to end the day.
Your heart's got to be pounding.
Last week I said I was speechless after the win. I'm really struggling for words right now. I'm so blown away.
So back to back.
Back to back.
When's the next one?
So I'm not making Salt Lake City, unfortunately. I just can't justify the travel.
What are you talking about? You're on a heater
No.
here.
No.
Okay, look, you see that thing right there? You can probably find ways to turn that into a plane ticket, maybe.
Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. It's off the table for right now, but we're definitely coming for US Nats next, and I'm very excited for that. A lot of testing to do before that event. I feel like we've, over the last 2 weekends, established that the meta is kind of in upheaval right now, or not where we expected it to be, and so I have to figure out what deck I'm playing then.
Well, I mean, after two successes, major successes on Icelander, what's next? Do you see yourself pivoting off of the hero after proving, in especially the largest battle-hardened field we've ever seen at one of these standalone events, and playing up against the level of competition that you saw? I mean, do you ever see yourself going, yeah, Icelander might not be good enough?
Listen, it will take me... I love Icelander dearly. You can convince me to play a different deck. It will take a lot of convincing. Probably too much convincing.
I'm going to start it right now. Ready?
I'm listening.
Come on.
He makes a good
Come
point.
on.
he's-
Come
He makes a
on.
good
Trying to
point.
get you to play Bravo, and let's be
Oh,
honest.
no.
It's Borvo or bust.
Oh, yeah. We've renamed Bravo Borvo.
Borvo.
Borvo the Magnificent. Ultimately, Rhea, you have just gone back to back in terms of, in a span of 7 days, you've taken down two battle hardens, and ultimately, do you have a favorite win now?
I think it's hard to beat that finals. It was just the tension was perfect. I think it was a good narrative of front foot, back foot, skin of my teeth at the end there. I think that might be the highlight of these last 2 weeks for sure.
Brilliant.
Yeah, I think that was a gorgeous game of Flesh and Blood that both of you played, and I think both of you deserve huge accolades for playing at such a high level and showing us all what it really looks like.
Guess who was watching, by the way?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, you've got fans all the way out in New Zealand. I got a message from James saying, watching, waiting, enjoying. So
Hi, James White.
there you go. Quite the champion indeed.
Yeah.
Well, what a way to finish out this event. And like I mentioned before, if you're looking for more Flesh and Blood action, we got some more coming tomorrow. Are you playing in tomorrow's event?
You know I'm playing in tomorrow's PTI event.
Reinar? You're playing No.
Come on.
I'll give you 2 guesses.
Two?
Two
Okay,
guesses.
you ready? Vincent.
Close.
Borvo.
Why did you
How'd
waste
you
our second
know?
guess? You wasted our second guess. I needed that second guess. What is it going to be?
2 red discs go
I need to know now.
I brought 1 deck with me this weekend.
Okay, all right, fine. It's Icelander. Okay,
I came
sure.
to give people frostbites. It's my favorite thing to do in this game.
You're filthy.
Here to chew gum, give frostbites.
Oh, you know
Oh,
what?
the gum.
Right? Do you have these? I didn't think you had these. They're frostbite tokens. These metallic frostbite
Oh my
tokens. Do you have
goodness.
these?
I have those, and I have the oversized versions that they
wow.
released.
Why don't I just
versions.
go home? Whatever.
I mean,
I appreciate
Just
it.
trying to be a part of the winning circle, okay? That's all I can do.
it is what it is. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to send it on into the ether. Hopefully you enjoyed this stream, and we'll hope to catch you back here tomorrow. But until then, all right, goodbye, and take care. Everyone wave. Bye.